Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs. Hope everybody's doing well. Today is Wednesday and it's What's on My Desk Wednesdays. I'm starting my new series and I just thought for today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to kind of tell people what my favorite tools are, what I like to use, what I think are absolutely necessary, because I think that's good for beginners to know for sure. And then a lot of the people that have been around for a while, um, you know what? There may be things that I use or that I think are good to have that they may not have thought of, or maybe sources of things that, they may not have known about. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the things that I think you absolutely have to have if you're going to do junk journaling. Um, you don't have to have these specific tools, but I'm going to show you the ones that I have and give you those suggestions, and you can take it or leave it. So first off is my mat I have. You don't have to have this, but it's kind of a mess today because I've been cleaning and doing some other stuff. I think it has some oil on it from me putting it on my hands. But my desk mat that I have, I bought this quite a while ago, and I have a glass mat, which I highly recommend glass mats if you're not filming. But if you do film, it does have a bit of a glare. This is having a glare now, so I'm going to have to dry that and start over. Oh my God. Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs. Hope everybody's doing well today. I have a kind of a different video. It is Wednesday and it is a What's on My Desk Wednesday. I started doing that. Last week I did kind of a whole series where I did just using things on my desk. I made a journal and it really, I think, turned out really well. And I will post that in the description box if you're interested in seeing that. And that's mainly what my What's on My Desk is going to be like. I'm going to just kind of maybe take things that I have on my desk and figure out what I can make with them. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different on this What's on My Desk. I'm going to do something I haven't done that I've seen a lot of other makers do. But I thought, everybody has different things that they like, different sources, that type of thing, different reasons why they like certain things. So what I'm going to do today is what's on my desk as far as tools that I use. And these are on my desk. These are things I use every day. And you might be interested in them and why I use them, etc. So I thought I would kind of go through that. I mainly have tools on my desk. I don't really have a lot of uh, things other than maybe things that end up on my desk that I need to put away. But I don't really keep a lot of supplies on my desk other than very, very basic things. So it is mainly tools, okay? So anyway, I'm going to kind of go through the things and I'm going to try and do them pretty much the most important. First off, scissors. I am a Tim Holtz fan for scissors. I have all 3 sizes that he has. I love these small ones for fussy cutting. I think they work great. I have the, I don't really know, these are like the shears. You can fussy cut really well with these too, but I really like these just for general use. They cut material well too. I don't use them for material because I do have a special material scissors. I have one pair of scissors that are dedicated. Not that it's any, I don't even remember the brand, but this is just a pair of scissors. And I actually have about 3 or 4 of these. These have glue on them. I'm going to have to clean that up. But I just have them, and I have this little pink ribbon on them, and I have them in my little caddy, and I know that those are for material, and I use them just for material. But these do cut material pretty well. And these long ones, and a lot of times people may not understand the reason for having different scissors, and it does make a difference. I didn't realize that. If you can only get one, I would get this one because it's a good in-between. You can do fussy cutting with it. You can do long cuts with it. But this is great for fussy cutting. This is really good for kind of chopping. Like if I'm putting laces or trims and stuff on, this is great. I can cut it with that. I didn't realize this until I got into this, that long scissors like this really work well when you're trying to cut a straight line. It is really hard to cut a straight line with short scissors because you're going like this, and every time you go up and down, you're moving, whether you realize it or not. If you have a straight scissors, a lot easier to cut a straight line, guys. Okay? The same with fussy cutting. You can get in there nice and close and move, and that's why these are great for that. So anyway, I like the Tim Holtz. I do have these cutter bees for fussy cutting, and I like those too. I like them both, but I like these better. I'm not sure. I think the blade is a little bit shorter, so it's a little bit easier to get in and out. I'm not sure why, but these are good too. Anyway, so those are my scissors. I keep them handy all the time. Of course, there's all different kind of scissors out there. You guys get what you think works best for you. The other thing that I use all the time is you need some sort of a cutting blade. And this is just an X-Acto blade. We are memory keepers, but any kind will do, because you will use this on a lot of occasions. Some people use theirs all the time to cut with, and honestly, I don't, but I do use it quite a bit. So that's something that you may want to invest in. They have all different kind of brands out there. Very inexpensive, and you can certainly get those. Oh, and on the Tim Holtz ones, I don't think I've ever paid full price for any of those, because I usually use like a 40% off coupon, or sometimes a 50% off, or wait for them to be on sale, and they usually are a lot. So I get them all the time that way. And I have like 2 pairs of each, I think, except for the long ones. I don't have 2 pairs of those. Anyway, the other thing that I use a lot of is rulers. And I don't do a lot of measuring, but when I do have to measure, and this is kind of very well loved and used. This is a Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm not sponsored by him, but I like this ruler. I don't know if you can see the numbers that well on this, but because I cleaned it up and it kind of messed it up. But if you see this little 0, it allows you to center things really well. I like that the numbers are clear and you can see them. I have gone through, I don't know, probably, I would say, at least 3 of these rulers, because I'll get them all gluey and stuff, and then you scrub them, and I usually use alcohol to clean with, and the numbers do come off. That's the only negative. It does have a metal side here. So if you want to cut, like with your blade, you can use that to, you won't mess it up. So that's something to consider. And anyway, it's a good ruler to use. I really like it. I think I use it an awful lot. The other thing that I use a lot is just a regular metal. This is so old. I've had this thing forever. A metal ruler, because you can cut it, not mess it up. And I also use it. I tear with it. I tear papers with it too. I just really like this plain old metal ruler you can get at Walmart or whatever. You can certainly center on this too. I mean, it's not like you can't, but it's just easier to do it on the Tim Holtz ruler, and I like it for that. The other thing that I use rulers for is tear rulers. And this is I believe We Are Memory Keepers, and it comes in a 3-pack. I don't really ever use these other two. They have like really wavy lines and stuff, and this has like a jagged one. I don't know. I think sometimes when I've done some grungy things, I've done this because it rips the paper a lot more. But I don't really use those. I mean, it's just I don't. So it's not something I use very often. I do use this one, not on this edge, but I've used it on this edge. So I have used this a lot. And there are a lot of tear rulers out there, but I bought this just because it came with 3 for pretty much the same price as 1. I think I got it at some point at Tuesday morning, and it was very inexpensive, but I do use the tear ruler. I bought this one, and these are just a metal tear ruler. It's smaller, and it's just kind of nice to have a small one if you're just tearing small things. So that's something that if you want to buy, you can use. You don't need a tear ruler. You can use a regular ruler. But this works. And there is a way that you can make a tear ruler out of an old ruler. And I will do that another time and show you guys how to do that. The other thing that I use a lot of almost every day are bone folders. I have a couple long ones here. I use these a lot. I have 2 small ones. And I wanted to show you these. One is a real bone, and one is this synthetic plastic. And honestly, I can't really, for what I use it for, I can't really tell the difference as far as the way I use it. So the real bone will cost more than the synthetic, but I wouldn't be afraid to get the synthetic for sure. So, I mean, you can get what you want. I'm just simply stating, in my experience, I haven't noticed as far as use, it's not that much different. So, anyway, I do definitely use my bone folders probably daily. The other thing I use daily, obviously, is glue. And these are Sugar Bell bottles. And I love these bottles, okay? Everybody has their favorite glues. I use Beacon 3-in-1, and I put it in here. And I love this thing. And then I use art glitter glue. I do use other glues. I definitely, for sure, I use tacky glue quite a bit. When I'm filming, I pretty much exclusively almost use Beacon 3-in-1 and art glitter glue, and I love having them in here. And my glue stick that I use is Scotch Permanent Glue Stick. I love this glue stick. I've tried a lot of different others, And I think there's some other, there's Scotch Craft or something. And I've used those, and to me, think they work pretty much the same. So I buy these in bulk on Amazon, and I absolutely love this glue stick. And I have tried other kind, but I really love that. These bottles I bought, I think it was two to a container. And I bought, they did not come with the cover, and they're sweet Sugar Belle, and they don't come with this top, but I highly recommend getting the top. I bought these little, I don't know what you call these things, these little cap things to put on top, and I don't think they work as well. I think they're for knitting needles, and I've seen people use those, so I bought them. And they don't, I'll show you why in a minute, the reason I prefer this. And it's because, let's see, it's because that, let me put that up. Okay, here is my 3-in-1, and it can get clogged sometimes. And this is a stainless steel top, and it's easy to clean off. But I keep a little pin in here, and this is a stainless steel pin. Which, by the way, I'll show you those. This is by Dritz, and it's stainless steel. And it's hard to find a real stainless steel pin. And I bought an entire package of these because I kept losing pins all the time. But I keep the pin in there on top, okay, just like that. And then this top will fit right over it. So, and also, if I don't keep the pin in there, it really doesn't clog up usually very much. So I can just put that top on like that, you know, and honestly, it doesn't really clog up. But I just keep the pin in there because I know that it may clog a little bit, and it works. And this fits right over it with the pin. So that's why I like it, okay? So it's great for that. I like the size. I've seen people, this is 4 ounces. I've seen people with the big 8 ounces. I just like this size better for me. I don't like the really big bottle to have to, you know, and I keep, you know, my bigger bottles of my Beacon 3-in-1 and my Art Glitter Glue separate, and then I just refill these because the top, these just come right off, and you can just, you know, fill it. So this is a very, and I'm sure y'all have seen these things get caked with glue all over it, and I just put a little alcohol on there and clean it, and that's it. Same thing here, my Art Glitter Glue. Now, I know a lot of people use the fine tip for the Art Glitter Glue. I actually like this tip better because it doesn't get clogged up nearly as much. And depending upon how you press with this, you can go really fine or you can go really thick. And that's kind of why I like it. I like the able to control it. And so anyway, I use that. And this little thing, it goes all the way down, and you just put that on there, and then it works great. So that is obviously my most favorite things I use all the time. Paintbrushes, I just buy cheap paintbrushes. I don't spend a lot of money on them because I tend to ruin them. You can buy paintbrushes anywhere, the dollar store, Walmart, whatever. I'm not doing any big works of art, so I don't spend a lot of money. I do have a ton of paintbrushes. I don't know why, but I do. But anyway, paintbrushes, you will use those a lot. I use this is very well loved too, my Distress sprayer. And I'm telling you, this thing, I love it because it does a fine mist. And you can, I mean, there's other sprayers out there that work well. But I like this sprayer, and I would recommend it. Okay. Anyway, I have that on my desk because I use it constantly. All right. The other things I use constantly, Distress ink. I actually have 2 pads of vintage photo here, and a dauber. I bought an entire package of these on Amazon for relatively inexpensive, but this is probably my original one. It's very well used, but I kept my old pad and I refresh it. So because a lot of times I'll be in the middle of something and I need to re-ink it, and once you re-ink it, until the ink sinks in, it's just floating on top and you'll get too much ink. So I'll re-ink one and then have one to use and then go back and forth. So I do have 2 of them in here. This brush that I have, this is like a makeup brush, has a lot of glue on it and stuff. I have a bigger one and a smaller one. I have a whole thing of a bunch of them over here, but you can get these at the dollar store. You don't have to spend a lot of money on them. I know there's expensive ones out there, but these are inexpensive. You can also get them on Amazon. I have a smaller one that I keep handy, and I have a little bit bigger one so that I can just use those when I need to use them. So, and I have this sitting in just a little, this is from my iPhone, just a little box that I put so that I can have it handy on my desk. Right next to where I have this, I have, this is a little tray that I got at the dollar store. Who knows what's in there. And I keep some of my most used colors that I distress with: ground espresso, walnut stain, and old paper. And of course I can trade those out. I do have one of these brushes sitting here for old paper because I use it all the time. And I have like a little brush just for a little distressing. And then I have these. And of course I have other brushes sitting on my desk that I use for different inking, but that's basically what I have, okay? So I do have a set of those brushes that I use. This is just a jar that I got from Red Lobster. I have this sitting on my desk with a sponge in it, and if you put a little bit of water in here and you want to put your 3-in-1 glue in there, it won't leak out. It'll just sit there like that, and you can have it ready to go. You know how when it gets to the bottom? So I have that sitting on my desk for that reason, okay? And it's a heavy glass, so it's not going to fall over. And this is just a sponge that I have on the bottom, and I always just put a little water in there to keep it from coming out. And that is what I use for my glue. So anyway, for water on my desk, I just have one of these square containers. It's a candle holder, and the reason I like it is it's really hard to knock that over. So if I have to put water in something, I blinged it up and all the bling. It's been on here for years and it's coming off, but I guess I could take all the bling off of it. But I use it for water just because I know it's not going to fall over. So I have those 2 on my desk, things that I use all the time. The other thing that I use all the time is wipes. And I just broke down and bought this little container that I absolutely love because my wipes were getting dry all the time. I buy wipes from the dollar store, and I just keep this on my desk because you're going to always get messy, and it's always great to have a wipe. So I have baby wipes that I use all the time in my little container. The other things I use all the time, this is my Fiskars cutter that I love. It's not too big. I have other cutters. Trust me, I have lots. I have guillotine cutters, all kinds of stuff. But if you can only get one cutter, this one is a great one to get. It is a rotary cutter. It's not super expensive. I got it with a 40% off coupon, and it was really not that expensive at all. It's not the big heavy duty one. And I like that because I have it sitting in a drawer in my next to my desk, and I don't want to take the big heavy one out. and it will go all the way up to 12.5 inches. So, you know, and it's great. I have not replaced the blade on this yet. I do have blades for it, and it is a rotary. But I'll tell you, the reason I like this is that on the other ones with the other blade, it just seemed like I was constantly replacing the blade on it, and I have not had to do that on this. You just push down and cut with it, and it's great. And it really is. It's fantastic. So I strongly recommend this. So if you are in the market for a cutter, I would get that. I just bought this Tonic Tim Holtz cutter. I like it pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little kind of thrown off with where the cutting blade is and the measuring. So I had a We Are Memory Keepers. In fact, I still have it somewhere. Let me see. Get it out. Right here. And it just, I don't know. I guess I got to get used to it. The little plastic thing came off. I got to put it back on. There's a little plastic dealie that goes over here. And I had taken it off, so I got to put it back on because then it'll cut my fingers off. But anyway, well, maybe I'll do it at another time, but it goes in here. It fits right in here. It's just a guard. And, okay, now I can't get it in. Okay, let me do that first and see if that goes in. There we go. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just something weird about it to me. But I think I just have to get used to it. But I have a small cutter simply because of the fact that a lot of times when you're cutting things, you just need a small cutter. And a guillotine cutter is a good thing to have, a small one. I have a big one too when I'm doing a lot of, mass making journals or something. And I don't normally do that very often, but I do have one. But in any case, having a smaller one comes in very handy. But if you can only have one, I would get the bigger one, okay? Because then you can do everything. So that is something that I have on my desk. This is behind me. I don't use it all the time, but anyway, that is something I have on my desk. The other thing that I have, I use a scoreboard. You do not have to have a scoreboard. You can just use a ruler. No big deal if you don't have one. Oops, I don't know what fell, but something did. Something fell. I use a scoreboard all the time. To me, I like having a scoreboard, but you don't have to have one. And it comes with a little thing that, to use to score with it. I bought this, I think, at Tuesday morning on sale. And I also have a small one, which honestly, I don't use all that often because a lot of times it's kind of a pain because it only goes down to 7 inches. So, if you're just going to get one, again, get the bigger one. Okay? I bought both simply because I think it was on sale, and I thought, well, okay, I might as well get it, right? One thing that I absolutely love that I have, and y'all, if you watch my channel, you see me use this all the time, and it's kind of a mess because I haven't cleaned it up that good, but I use a silicone mat constantly, simply because if you're doing any kind of mixed media or anything like that, or something like I did not candles, but the wax seals, and I was using things that were hot. If you're embossing, whatever, this is great because if you use heat on your regular mat that you have, what that will do is it can warp your mat. So you don't want to do that. But this is fantastic. And you can, of course, you can use you can use mixed media and all that on your other mat, but it's harder to clean up. This thing, you can just take it and I just take it and I let it soak in the sink. I fill up my sink and I just throw it in my sink and let it sit there for a little bit or whenever I get around to it, and then I clean it out, and it is completely clean, super easy. Most things don't stain on it very much. Alcohol ink will a little bit, but not a ton. You can get most of it off. And so that's something that I use all the time. And, you know, I would recommend definitely investing in. I think I bought 2 of them so that I could switch them out because I'm kind of lazy. Okay, so, oh, and then I did buy, I don't remember where I saw these. You can get these anywhere super cheap and get multiples. They do have smaller ones if you want to not have a big one like that. And this is great if you're, you know, you don't want to put a whole mat on. This is the same thing. It's heat resistant, whatever. So you can get that. I only use this whenever I'm like using my glue gun or something. So I'll kind of put this off to the side so I can put my glue gun on it. Because if you put your glue gun on this mat, it'll burn it. I do have a glass mat. That works absolutely great. Easy to clean up. You know, heat resistant, all those kind of things too. But as I said, there's a lot of glare. And to be honest with you, I actually like my silicone better than my glass mat anyway. I think because it's a little bigger and it's super easy to clean up. Like I said, I just take some soapy water, fill up the sink, and then, you know, let it soak for a little bit, and then kind of just take a scrubby if there's stuff on it, and it comes right off and it's clean. So anyway, that is something I have on my desk all the time. And then that brings me to this. This is my well-loved and well-used heat gun. I've had this over 20 years. I'm trying to think. It might be like more like 25 years. And you can tell it's I keep thinking I'm going to replace it, but why? It works, okay? But I use my heat gun constantly. So that's something you have to have if you're embossing. A regular hairdryer will not work. I do have a hairdryer that I use. It's kind of a gun hairdryer. And it's actually an old hairdryer that I had. But it definitely, you can't really emboss with that. So you do need a kind of a heat gun if you're going to do any kind of embossing. So that's something I use all the time. And you can get those very inexpensively. They're not super expensive at all. The other things that I use, let me get these out. I use these little clamps. I'll show you. Okay. These I got at the dollar store. I use these all the time to kind of hold my pages open when I'm working on them. I also use these. I make a lot of my own scrunchy seam binding, and this is what I use to, I just basically dye it and then scrunch it up and put it under there and let it sit for days, and that's pretty much what I do. And these are the kind of clamps I use because they're pretty heavy duty. You can get these kind of clamps anywhere. I also use these plastic ones a lot. I got these on Amazon. This is a larger size. Here's the smaller size. I use both. Constantly when I'm gluing things or doing things, I am constantly clamping things with these little things all the time. And I have like a whole thing of them just sitting on my desk. And I use them all the time. This used to be full. I don't know where the other ones went. I just really have no idea. No idea where they went. Okay, so the other things I have on my desk that I use all the time. This is a spray bottle. And in this spray bottle, I just have some alcohol ink, latte, and then I think the other one is Let me see, because I refill them constantly. Latte and caramel. And I just put alcohol in here with it. And the reason I do that is that if you don't want to tea dye your things that you, you know, like if you have a paper that's white on the back or something, or you have something and you need it coffee dyed and you don't want to go coffee dye it, I use this stuff all the time. It gives you a very vintage look. It looks kind of tea dyed. It depends. You can make it as dark or as light as you want. And this is just a spray bottle that I got from, I think from the dollar store. I don't know. And I just have it in here, and I use this constantly. So just thought, heads up on that. I wanted to kind of show you some things that are not, they're not necessary. You don't have to have them. I mean, so far, everything that I've shown you, to me in my book, they're kind of necessities. It's kind of hard to work without them. But here's some other things. These are very inexpensive makeup brushes that I bought at the dollar store, I think. You can definitely use these in different ways, and you can use those. That's very inexpensive, but it's a plus. This is, oh, those need to be cleaned, don't they? These are just silicone spreaders, and it's actually used, hairdressers use these, but I use this to spread glue. I love doing that when I'm putting glue on a cover or something. This works really good. They came in 3 different sizes. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them in a beauty supply store. But I use these things constantly. And I love them because you can just take you can clean them really. I didn't clean these really well. So, but they clean up super easy. You can get the glue right off. And just, you know. And it's great because you don't get glue all over your hands or your fingers or whatever. So that is something I use all the time. I'm putting this stuff away as I'm talking to you. The other silicone things that I use, I have silicone brushes. I've just started using these and I love them for little things. I also like it if you want to, like let's say you're doing trim or lace or something. You can use this to spread it around with and not get it all over your fingers, which I do anyway, but because I tend to like just, you know, spread it with my fingers. Well, these work great. These work absolutely great. And of course you can clean them up super easy. So I do use these a lot now, and they were very inexpensive, super inexpensive. These stylists here, this is what I use with my scoreboards. I don't really use the little plastic thing that comes with it, just because I like these better because they kind of fit in the slots. And these are extremely inexpensive too, but I use these all the time with that. And you know, if you don't have a scoreboard, which you do not have to have, and you just want to use your ruler, these work great too for that. Okay, so you can just, you know, do your score line with that. Okay, and if your paper trimmer doesn't have an option for you to score with it, which mine does, but you can, instead of cutting, you can just use the stylist in the slot and then you know, measure and score with that too. So the other things that I use that you can work like this, that silicone that I had, this is from the dollar store, and I used to use this all the time to spread my glue on my covers, but now I mainly use it for when I'm just kind of putting a little bit of glue on things because it's smaller. But I got this at the dollar store. I think it's to put a makeup mask on. But anyway, it's silicone also. This thing, I love it. I know it. You guys probably see me use these a lot probably go, what is that thing? This thing is fantastic, especially if you use hot glue, because it's silicone and you can push down with it and hold down with it, and it kind of, and you can also use this, it's a little bit stiffer than this. So let's say you're trying to like press something down like glue or whatever. Basically you use it instead of your finger, okay? And it'll keep you from burning your fingers. It'll keep you from getting glue. It is meant as a lip scrubber. It's got like a little scrubby thing on there. And then this, I haven't used it for that, but I think it would work at the dollar store. I got this at the dollar store, and this is great if you're trying to like, you know, press glue down and stuff with it. You can also use a brayer for this, but this, I don't know, this is a makeup thing too. I'm not exactly sure what that is for, but you could definitely use it for that. I use this for just, you know, getting things down, all the way down. I bought these at the dollar store. I use these all the time. They work great for spreading out your texture paste through stencils, or if you're putting gesso on something, that works really, really good and super inexpensive. So I mean, I don't know. I've gone through several packages of these, and you get them in the craft area. You can get these online too, very inexpensive, but I know they have them at the dollar store. Also, I use just a plain old nail file to, when I'm filing stuff, when after I've maybe glued or done something, and just a plain old nail file. Use it all the time. That to me is inexpensive, and I use it. Obviously, a pencil. I always have pencils handy because you're always marking something, so you want to have that. The other thing is, these are a few things that I like having around that are not necessary, but at this point I would say, you know, they're a little bit more of an investment than the other things that I showed you, but I think they're great. This is a distress tool. It's the Tim Holtz one. You don't have to have that. You can use the side of your scissors, but it's a handy thing to have. I just kind of keep it in my little distress box here usually. Usually I just have it sitting right here, and when I'm, you know, because you're distressing things. So there you go. That's what you're doing with them. So anyway, that's what I do with that. This is a little water thing, and what it does is it allows you to, if you're like doing napkins or something like that, you can just go around it and then pull it apart. You definitely don't have to have this. You could use just a small brush with water and it'll do the exact same thing. But these are nice to have because you can just pick it up. It already has the water in it. You can leave them in there and then just do that. They're super inexpensive. You can get them at any craft supply store, but they're usually very inexpensive. Let's see, what else do I have? These tweezers. I love these tweezers. I never really got it. Never could really understand these kind of tweezers and what they are. Let me show you. Find something that I can use a tweezer on. If you are wanting to hold something, okay, and I use them a lot for embossing, okay, so when you squeeze them, they're reverse tweezers. They don't tighten and close, they open. So when you close them and you hold them like that, look at that. So if you're embossing something or whatever, these things come in handy. I use them all the time too for if I'm tying a bow or something. You know how you need that other set of hands? You just stick this in there and then tie your bow. It holds it shut. These are a pair that I got that were from We Are Memory Keepers, and they have a light. I had no idea it had a light in it. Let's see if I can turn the light on. See that? So when you're using these, you can actually, this little button is supposed to go on the side. It's turned around. But you can actually put these on and they have a light, so you can, I hardly ever use a light. But anyway, these are the same kind of thing. So there you go. And I use these things all the time. Like I said, when I first got the reverse tweezers, they were awkward. I was like, well, these are weird. I don't think I'll ever use those. Use them all the time. The other thing is, this is a little Cricut tool. It's a pokey thing, and there's different brands you can get, but I use this constantly for all kinds of stuff. To take, the stickers apart, the backing off of stickers, or sticker paper, or I use it for the purpose intended, to weed die cuts. But I mean, this thing comes in handy a lot. So I use it to poke through lace or trim in a hole or something. When it's like a small little area and you want to do it. I don't know, I guess the angle of this thing, it just comes really in handy. I have several of them and I love these. So it's just kind of weird. It's a tool that you just go for all the time. This is a brayer. This is a Tim Holtz one, but honestly, any kind of brayer would work. This one is cool because it just kind of sits up. So when you put it down, it doesn't touch the surface. So you can, do whatever. But a brayer comes in really handy when a lot of things that you do. But you don't have to have one, guys. You can use an old credit card. It'll work pretty well. But a brayer does come in handy, and it's a good thing to have. So that is something you might want to consider. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about is a little bit of other things that you can get cheaply. These are cutting mats that I use all the time from Dollar Tree, but you can get them anywhere. This has tape on it that I put alcohol ink that I have stained already. And I just I use this just for that, and I have it on the side. So if I want my tape, my vintage tape look, I just pull that up, and I have some tape on there already. I just do a bunch of them, and then I just put the alcohol ink on it, and I have it. Comes right off. This one I use when I'm doing a lot of gluing, just because, it's just a way for me to do something that I don't have to clean all this up. I don't have to clean it. I keep it, and then eventually I clean it off or I throw it away. These are just mats that you can get from the dollar store that if you want to, you can do basically the same thing with those. You don't have to have the cutting thing like I have. And you could use these just for a mat to work with. You can use the white side if you want to, but honestly, guys, these work just as well for that same purpose if you want to do that. I don't think they're heat resistant like a silicone mat would be, but you know what? For most purposes that we're using, they're great. Okay, some of the other things that I have on my desk that are kind of extra, these are not things you have to have, and they're not necessities at all, but I did want to point that out, that you will see me using them all the time, is I do use the We Are Memory Keepers eyelet setter, and it also has a hole punch on each side. I use this constantly, and you'll see me use it constantly, and that's a good investment if you're looking to get a tool. So that's something I use all the time. The other thing is I use this corner rounder, and it's got a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch. I do have smaller ones, but I honestly, I really use this one so much that I rarely use my other one. I have this one that I have had forever. And it's actually a good one. Small, medium, large. It's less expensive than this one, but this will go through like several pages or whatever. It's heavy duty, so I do use that one a lot. The other thing that I use a lot, I use this little teeny tiny hole punch. I don't know how tiny it is. It's super smooth. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if it zooms in. The little teeny tiny punch, and I use that for different things, and I think I just got it off Amazon. It was not expensive. I do have a regular hole punch that I use, but most of the time I use my, just a normal punch. I have an angle punch that I use. It has a small and a large on it. I use that. And I have this slot one that I really like that I bought. It's a little heavy duty. This one does pretty good. It can go through cardboard good or whatever. But I use that all the time. And these are just my basic punches. I have several round punches that I use all the time. And, pretty much that's it. I don't have a lot of punches that I have. Well, I do have a lot of other punches, but I don't have a lot of punches that I use all the time. And I do use these all the time. So this is a 1 inch, a 1.5, and a 3/4 inch. I use those pretty often. I do want to get like a 1/2 inch round one. I don't have one. I need to get one of those. The other thing that I use quite a bit is I use my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher and just a regular old stapler. So I use those very, very often, just on a lot of different things. So you don't have to have a tiny attacher, but it has a lot smaller staple. So if you'd like to hide your staples, and I use a regular stapler all the time. So these are things I use constantly. Other tools that I use, not a necessity, but I do have several, here, you don't need to see all of those because they're all the same thing. Jewelry tools, and if you buy a small set like this, honestly, guys, that's all you'll probably ever need. But if you're going to be doing any kind of dangles or, any type of jewelry on your journals, these things come in super handy. I would definitely invest in those if you get a chance. This cuts your wires or whatever. This rolls it, and this is to hold things. And if you get a little set like that, that's all you'll need. Is the cleaning. And if you do any kind of gluing, mixed media, any kind of that stuff, you are going to have a mess all the time, and you're always cleaning up your mess. And the best way that I know how to do that is alcohol. Okay, I buy the 70% alcohol at the Dollar Tree. You couldn't get it for a while during, the pandemic, but they did have 50%, and it was like colored green. It was really weird. And I bought that, and it worked pretty well. So, I don't know that you have to have 70%, but, and I think they still sell that 50%. They must have a bunch of it. And it's for the same price, so I just buy the 70%. It works. This works extremely well to clean, guys. Extremely well. I have it in a spray bottle, a well-loved spray bottle. Okay. And I spray down my mat, and most things come right off. I use it for my hands to get stuff off my hands, especially glue. It takes paint off. It'll take gesso off. Even most of the times it'll take alcohol ink. Now, not on clothes or anything like that, but on a non-porous surface, it will take the alcohol ink off of that. So this works amazing. I did hear someone say once that Tim Hull said not to spray alcohol. No, he said not to use his what do you call it? Alcohol spray that he uses with his to the mixer or whatever that is that he uses with his alcohol, because it has a binder in it. Alcohol doesn't have a binder in it, regular alcohol. My son works in a lab. They clean with alcohol all the time. This is their number one go-to, is alcohol. And they use like 80 or 90% or something. But, yeah, and they use it in spray bottles. So alcohol is not going to hurt you to have in a spray bottle. Trust me, it's not going to hurt you. One of the things that I like to use too is this is kind of a stiff brush. I think I might have gotten it at Walmart. It's plastic, it's not metal. There's some danger issues with the metal ones, but this is a very stiff plastic brush. I use that. I'll put my alcohol on here, let it sit when I have glue, and I'll just go like that. Stuff comes right up. Take a paper towel, and that's it. Now, if that doesn't work, my next go-to, this is a cookie thing that I got at the dollar store, and I just go like that. Scrapes it right up. Don't use a, what do you call it, like an X-Acto knife or anything because it'll cut even though you're supposed to be able to cut on these or whatever, it'll mess it up. So, but this won't, and it just scrapes things right up. You can't get that. You can get just one of these little spackling things, and it does the same thing. Just get one of those, and that'll work. That is something I use that daily. Okay, daily, and it is on my desk. The other thing is I have one of these clips, and I have a little thing next to my desk, and I don't even know. Every time Dollar Tree has these, I get them. These have kind of like a rub. I don't know what it is. It's a cotton towel, and you can get these anywhere. But even actually, you can cut up old bath towels because they do have like the texture to it. But this has a lot of texture. I bought, I think about 8 of these. But what I do is I have this clipped on the side of my desk, okay, right next to me, and I am constantly wiping my hands on this rather than grabbing a paper towel or grabbing a wipe. A lot of times you just have a little something and you just do that, and this texture just helps get the stuff off your hands. And if you can take a little alcohol if you've got stuff on there and rub it on there. But anyway, I clip this is on my desk all the time, right next to me, because I use it. And then when it gets gunky, I wash them. When they get too bad, I just throw them away. And then last, I just want to show you one thing that I love, and I think it will help out a lot of people. So it is my little sewing machine that I personally absolutely love. I have 2 other sewing machines, and they're on a rolling cart, and they're right next to me, and I use those all the time too. One has a lot of different stitches, and then one I use it's real basic, and I basically just use the real basic one all the time. I don't really use it a lot. I got them both off of Facebook Marketplace for under $50, and I just use I use my little one that I'm going to show you all the time. So I got this off of Amazon, and I would link it except for the fact that the seller isn't selling it, but I think I've seen several other people that have it. It's right around $50. And I like it simply because of the fact that I use this for tags and things like that when I want to do something quick, because it is literally sitting on my desk, plugged in, and I can just pull it over and sew it up and then not have to worry about, you know, going to my other sewing machine or pulling it over or any of that. I don't use it on big things because, or not on big things, heavy duty things, because I don't think it's really meant for that. I don't think it would work that well. It does run on batteries too, so like if you want to take it with you on a crop or something like that, you could definitely use it for that. Anyway, it's not fancy. It just has like 11 stitches or something, but it's really works for most things that you would use it for. So anyway, that is my last thing that I think that I have on my desk that I absolutely love and use all the time. And those are the things that I use. So it's not everything on my desk, but it's the things I use every day. But anyway, that is it for today. And I will see you guys again next time, which will be my Fun Friday. And I have a little bit of surprise for that. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.